supposed to be heavenly beings, and positive energy is killing us. They'll never come out with it. They'll never come out with the truth. And so by claiming, by Bush bombing Iran, it will help them save face. They can always say, oh, our people are dying from nuclear radiation. Things like that. They can, oh, it was a terrorist attack, and there was some kind of a chemical attack, and they'll blame it on everything else to try to hide what's really going on. I know the other day I was reading this article about the coming pandemic, and it's talking about how you can safeguard yourself in your homes and wearing masks and wearing gloves, and I'm just reading, and I'm thinking, oh, good grief. He actually, in the article, he gets into the whole thing of putting on a suit with the oxygen mask, and I'm thinking, oh, good grief. Those things are expensive. They're not very cheap, and I'm not going that far. If I can't sit in my orgoned area in my orgoned home and survive, then so be it. I'll go home with the Lord. And that's when it hit me, because I'd seen that term asphyxia so much in inhalator. But that's how some of them will survive, is that they have these oxygen masks on. Now, can you imagine God coming from heaven and eating an oxygen mask? How many people is this going to fool? And the sad part is, many, they're still going to buy the fact that he's God. They're sick, they're dying, they're suffering from this necrosis. They're getting leprosy. They're getting boils, literally burning from the inside out. And people are still going to buy that they're angels and ascended masters from heaven. And the church is going to buy that this Jesus coming to Sananda is actually the Son of God, because Benny Hinn tells them to, for no other reason. Their little pastors, the little Joel Osteens and Robert Schulers and Benny Hinns and the one Satanist and lizard after the next are gonna tell their followers, hey, that's Jesus. That's really him. That's the Son of God. The Bible code says it's a lizard, it's a reptilian, it's a creature, it's a beast. It's not the Son of God. And yet all these people, the church is going to get fooled, and that's why the Lord's going to give them over to judgment. Now, when Maitreya does come and all this does happen and it goes down, his forces are being destroyed. People are his hybrid children around the world. All of them, they have hybrids all over the place. They're all dropping dead. They're going to want vengeance, and so what they're going to do is come after the Orgone warriors, the ones who are behind getting this Orgone out. And what's really funny is that we're not going to be here. The Lord is going to protect and take up the faction 4 Orgone warriors. He's going to take them up, and that's why you'll see in the Bible codes where he's cursing God, he's cursing the Orgone warriors, the believers in God. He's cursing all of us because he's angry. The one thing he wants when he comes is vengeance. And by the time he arrives and gets all his authority together and pulls himself back together from losing so many of his forces here on earth and this whole pandemic thing going on, and gathers the worldwide authority to come after us, we're gone. We're gone. And so what happens is he ends up getting really mad and going after the remnant, which is the rest of the bride, the church. And that's where you'll see the persecution of the saints, and that'll be carried out through martial law here in America, and ICE, immigration, ICE. I can't even remember what it's there. Immigration, Customs Enforcement, that whole agency, that ICE. They'll be going after the believers. And they won't find the faction 4, but they'll find the church, and so they settle for less, and they go after the church, and that's where you see the persecution of the saints, Revelation 13. So it's basically the first thing he does when he comes on earth is first thing he has to do is consolidate his authority, and then the second thing he gets to do is seek vengeance on the Lord's people for what we've done to them. But we're gone. The ones who caused it are gone. And so I just find that highly amusing. These little maggots, they were with Satan in his first rebellion against the Lord, and they're with him during the second rebellion attempt. They didn't win the first time, not going to win the second time. And so here, the other terms that I found relating to the Faction 4 warriors, the ones who have gone out and we're going to their areas and know exactly what's going on, understand fully what I'm talking about. Bravery, boldness, apocryphal, biblical, banditry, adornment. Adornment is you're adorned, crowned, oiled. Secret, secretly, thrilling, enjoyment, celebrate, celebration. We're celebrating his demise when they come. Warfare, fragment, heroics, apostolic. So this is some of the things that are coming up. I expect what we're going to start seeing in September, October. So look for it in September and October. The next 2 months are going to be critical because I do believe it's going to happen during Bush's administration. And the interesting thing is the double Bush. Because it's the double Bush who's going to decide whether or not to attack Iran in September to save face from Nigeria. They talk about oil all they want to. The real meaning behind the coming Iran war is totally different than anybody could even imagine. And so look for September and October to be pivotal months for this year. I don't know if Maitreya will rear his ugly head. Now, he says he is, and I told him he's fluff. He's full of fluff. He's always touting fluff. He told me he would arrive this month in August. So we'll see if he does. He's always full of fluff, so I don't expect it. In fact, I don't see him arriving until March of next year, and so we'll have to see. And what I mean by arriving is he's already here. He's on the earth, and so I don't know if he's going to jump in a UFO, which is going to have to be an Air Force one because those don't crash because of Oregon. I don't know how he's going to arrive, and then how he pulls it off that he's God. He's going to send a master. I don't know how he's doing it. Right now, I think he's cowering in a corner somewhere. He's hiding. He's waiting for the reinforcements from Nibiru to come to help him. They've got millions of Satan's forces on Nibiru, planet Rahab, and so when that arrives, which I believe is already here as well, they're going to be unloading Nibiru and all those angels, fallen angels. There will be no mistaking them, though, because these things, the Bible code calls them Philistines. They're giants. And we know that one familiar Philistine we're all familiar with, Goliath, he was 9.5 feet tall. And so I would expect that the Philistines, the giants that are coming, are going to be just as tall, 9.5, 10 feet tall. I mean, these are huge beings, folks. And so the good part is that a lot of them are not going to be able to take living in Oregon areas. And so that's an impetus also, a motivation for people to get it out in your area, because unless you want them moving into your area because it's a safe area for them, I would get it Oregon, because it's going to keep them away from your area. And so, if you don't want them in your town, your cities, the best thing to do is get a map and just do a loop, do a circle around your city, do a circle around your town, your county, and throw an Oregon blaster one every mile somewhere where it won't be found, in the water, in a tree, in a bush, in a ditch, buried somewhere. Do a grid, do a circle all the way around something. I know I drove all the way around Cleveland, put the lake on one side, so it wasn't really all the way around, but you get the picture. And I got Oregon around Cleveland. Cleveland's not a real big residential kind of area. You don't really live inside the city. You live outside of it and not in it. Benny Hinn was coming to town and going into Cleveland, so I thought I'd give him a nice welcome present last year. I liked the rest of Cleveland while I was at it, the city itself. But you got to get your residential areas, and that's one thing that I haven't spent a lot of time doing Cleveland residential areas. There's other warriors down there that can get it. I've spent a lot of time out Midwest in northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, going through Missouri as well, because there's a lot of satanic strongholds in Missouri.